Good morning, everybody. We are here live at Living Holistic with our member, Wayne Basist. Wayne is going to give us an overview of a new mental health exercise and program that's available, put out through Stanford.
Developed at Stanford University.
Okay. So do you want to give us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, first, good morning. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. So my name is Wayne Basist, and I own Wayne Basist Life Coaching. In particular, I am a mental fitness coach. I'm also an attorney, and I'll touch on that during the course of our conversation, how that fits in. But just hearing attorney mental fitness, you might start to already speculate about the connection. So mental fitness, when you think of physical fitness, you think in terms of building up, your physical strength as part of that, that program, your health and wellness. Well, mental fitness is where you build your mental muscles. And by mental muscles, what I mean is that you develop a command, self-command over your thoughts that enable you to catch negative thoughts and negative emotions and be able to quickly shift from that negative mindset to a positive mindset. So the ability of an individual to be able to do that and do that quickly is representative of their mental fitness. And this is a program and a system that actually is a true system. It was developed by a frequent lecturer at Stanford University, graduate studies in neuroscience, also positive psychology, and the Stanford MBA, extremely bright individual, who had been the CEO of a large coach training organization and had found, that over time, when you work with coaches, clients typically do well while you're coaching together. Mm-hmm. But as soon as the coaching stops, the individuals tend to regress and fall back into their old patterns. So he wanted to try to figure out how to identify the root causes of our negative emotions, the root causes of why we're stressed, why we're anxious, why we're frustrated, angry, could be feeling guilt or shame, disappointment. And they did studies and what he likes to call a factor analysis to identify the causes. And he came up with a list of 10 what he calls saboteurs. Now, what are these saboteurs? Saboteurs are those negative thoughts, those subconscious, self-sabotaging thoughts that actually are driving those emotions. Mm-hmm. And so he developed this system where he labeled these individual characters, if you will. So, for example, one of them, the most powerful, is the judge. Mm-hmm. Stop and think about how often do you find yourself judging yourself, mm-hmm. right? And it's almost always negative, and it's always harsh, and it to a point where we would probably never judge another person as harshly, right? Yeah. As we might judge ourselves. Mm-hmm. So the judge is your first and most powerful. That judge drives what we then call the accomplice saboteurs. So, for example, one of them is called the stickler. Just like it sounds, the stickler is obsessed about perfection. Things have to be perfect. If it's not perfect, it's not good enough. If you can't do it perfectly, you're better off not doing it at all. It's that kind of
or figure out how to do it right.
Right. It's and that causes us so much stress. Mm-hmm. I happen to be a person because stickler is my strongest, and
And mine.
And
I did the assessment.
we just learned moments ago it's for Alicia as well. And so what does that kind of look like? Well, I'm the guy who can sit at a computer and spend 30 minutes to draft a 4-sentence email, because in my head it's like the words have to be perfect. In my thinking, you know, the judge is telling me, if you don't do this, it's going to fail, so you better do it. And when I struggle with it, because I'm trying to find the magic words that are going to somehow control how the other person is going to react to what they receive, right? You know, it is a waste of, you know, time, energy, you know, overall resources, ability to try to get anything else done. Right? So that's just an example of, and there's a controller saboteur. That's the one who says to you, when you ask somebody else to do something, you get frustrated and say, "I'll forget it. I'll do it myself." And you're trying to control situations and control people. And what does that do? It causes your own stress, and it stresses out everyone else around you. And then there's an avoider. I'm not going to go through all 10 now, but then there's an avoider, which is very common. What is that? That's the procrastinator. You have a difficult or a challenging or just something you don't want to do, and you just keep putting it off. And what are the effects of that? Stress, waste of time, less productive, and again, you're stressed, so you're impacting everyone else around. So that was the first part of what we sought to do. And then the question was, okay, so now that I know I've got these characters up in my head, right? You know, how do I stop them? Well, the way to stop them was to be able to shift into a calm state of mind. So what they developed are these little mindfulness exercises that you can do, and they're intended to be for like real time, real world, everyday practical use. Right? I like to meditate in the morning. Meditate sometimes, or
all throughout the day. If I catch myself, I'm like, I gotta fix this.
and for a lot of people, at 2:00 in the afternoon, you're not going to go, you know, turn off the lights, close the shades, and meditate for 10 minutes. What do you do in that moment? So they came up with these mindfulness exercises. And an example of one of them is as simple as, you know, closing your eyes, taking 2 fingertips, and gently rubbing your fingertips so you can actually feel your fingertips. When you're focused that intently, everything else in your mind melts away. And now all of a sudden, what had you anxious, saboteurs that had, in a sense, hijacked you, now quieted. That then enables you to then, the third part of the system is referred to as the sage perspective. Now that we're calm, we identified essentially the five characteristics or qualities of a sage perspective. So now let's give the example. The judge, being the judge, is now putting you down about whatever it is that the judge is telling you you're not doing right. And you're able to catch them, or intercept is the word you use. Now you reach this place of calm, and now you're able to energize and activate these 5 sage powers. First one, for example, is empathy. Well, the first thing that to help ourselves is to show ourselves some empathy. We don't deserve what our judge just said about us. And again, that further just helps calm everything down, slows everything down. And then your other powers you can become more curious. You explore, okay, what's going on? What is it I'm really trying to get? What is it I really want? How is this affecting others? And it's like, inter-office relationships. There's always a lot of can be conflict. So for one person to have more empathy towards the other
Mm-hmm.
and take a moment and think about maybe what's going on, or depending on the
Right.
relationship you're asking. Um, and then then it's you become more creative, which is another sage power, which is like, okay, what are all the different ways I might be able to address
Mm-hmm.
this situation?
Right.
Which, when you're super emotional, do you find it difficult to think of other ways to
Mm-hmm.
address
Yep.
what's going on? Um, so that power is unleashed. And then the next one is a really cool. This is where we call it navigate. And what we're doing is we remember what our core purpose is, whatever it is we're doing. So for me, when I'm anxious and stressed, because one of my saboteurs is I take a moment to remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm just reconnecting with that purpose, that mission. It helps again with the perspective. Um, and you also tap into your elder, wiser self. Think of what that situation is. And I'll take clients through a little visualization where you get to meet your elder, wiser self,
Mm-hmm.
and you ask that elder self, so what do you think about this? How do you suggest I handle this? Do you have any ideas? And it's remarkable because we quickly, first thing I find happens is my elder self says, chill out. That's the first thing. It's not as big a deal as
Yeah.
you think it is.
You get so wrapped up in your thoughts.
Right. And you lose all perspective. Um, it's, I'll say to clients, I'll say, well, think of it this way. Like, imagine if you have a child who is 30 years younger than you, or 20, and when they're all worked up and stressed out, right? Many of us have been there or something similar,
Mm-hmm.
and we see that it's not as big a deal as they think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And but we get to do this with our own selves. And it's
Right.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty effective.
Okay.
And now once here, just to wrap it, I'm sorry,
No, you're
just
fine.
finish the system, is that um, now that by the time you've gone through all that,
Mm-hmm.
shared empathy with yourself, you've explored what's really going on, kicked around different ideas, you got your elder, wiser self's advice, then now we've defined the specific, with laser focus, what the next step is right now. And we seek to break it down to the smallest step. So I'm going to go back now, and I mentioned the avoider, procrastinator.
Okay.
Okay. The sage response to, I don't want to do this is hard, whatever. Once you've gone through this, the sage response becomes, how about you just start it? And even set a timer for 1 minute to just start it.
Mm-hmm.
And so often, once you are breaking the ice,
Mm-hmm.
now all of a sudden you start to feel like, okay, start. But it's getting to that place where everything has been completely quieted down, crystal clear.
Right.
On what your desired outcome is. Very, very, very.
So, from what I'm hearing, this is really great in the moment. But is there a system that changes the pattern over time?
Yes, great question. So, what happens in the process? Actually, I'll back up for a moment. So, we already have these well-established communication connections in our brain. So, this is why we find ourselves at times reacting the same way over and over
Mm-hmm.
to certain situations. These are referred to as neural pathways.
Mm-hmm.
With this system, what happens is you have the event, and over time, as you learn to catch, and do these little mindful exercises that we call PQ exercises to calm the mind and start accessing those sage powers instead of that old communication link. You're now creating a new one. And over time, the practice of catching the saboteur begins building a new neural pathway.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to achieve the calm continues building that new neural pathway as your body and your mind start to become accustomed to that feeling, and then energizing and activating those sage powers. That is ultimately results in totally different behavior or response.
Right.
That becomes the new way of thinking. And by creating these new neural pathways, that's how we can create long-term, lasting, positive habit change.
Right.
And that's one of the things. And they in the course of developing this, all of the system, they discovered a couple of things. They found that when a person is agitated, there's a region of the brain that is very active under an MRI imaging exam. When you then quiet the mind using those reps, and then you image the brain again, the side that was activated goes quiet, and what's in my system of coaching is called the sage region of the brain is now activated. What's very is that what they discovered is over a period of months, sometimes it can be as few as 2 or 3, but more like 6 to 8 of doing this, you will see the new neural pathways.
That is so amazing.
And for me, the journey that I've been through that led me to arrive at what I'm doing now as a mental fitness coach. I've experienced trauma in my life going all the way back. Did a lot of intensive trauma and therapy work, and then being in a car accident that left me totally disabled. I've done enormous amounts of inside work, right? The one piece that had been missing, I was receiving great input, and there's wonderful self-help books and spiritual books, and that have wonderful suggestions and advice, and they work if you're able to actually employ them.
Right.
So what I found when I was introduced to this system is I discovered a practical set of tools that now I have PTSD. So if I get triggered, now I've got tools that enable me to realize that, oh, okay, because it's a saboteur that's actually behind that. And now I'm able to immediately find calm, and I can immediately move into that positive, safe perspective, and be able to respond to the situation in a way that's in my own best interest and is healthy for me.
Right.
Someone is really rude. Okay? In my old past, that could be a trigger because I always took it personally. So all the work I did, I understand it's not personal, but in the moment, I would still be reacting the same way. It would take me a long time to finally quiet back down. This enables me to catch it right away and bring myself into a calm, positive mindset.
So your one-to-one work coaching, you're teaching them how to realize their saboteurs, because they're all different,
right.
And how to catch that in the moment.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there's an educational component to this, which is that I spend time, helping helping clients really get to know their saboteur
Mm-hmm.
and really understand their characteristics. Also to understand the lies that they tell us. Both sticklers. So our stickler will sell us. If that's not done perfectly, you'll be rejected. They're not going to like it. It's not going to
Mm-hmm.
work out. You're going to have a negative outcome. Right? Not true. Now that we have a sage perspective, we have a sage power, if you will, then we're able to manage that, stop it. That's ultimately it's, and I refer to it as an operating system. And think of Windows,
Mm-hmm.
right? Windows is an operating system, and it runs, a gazillion different apps,
Right.
applications. What's really also wonderful about this system I use is that you can use it to address any situation in life. I deal with continuous chronic pain issues. Um, my story includes major depression. I mean, I have a lot of ongoing health challenges. This system is helping me so much with respect to improving how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that it does generally is it improves your well-being. Physically, if I'm not stressed, then my muscles aren't all tensed up, right?
Right.
So I'm not hurting as much. Mentally, it enables me to think more clearly. Emotionally, it helps me to stay in control of my emotions.
Right.
And with that in mind, I have people I work with that, they're dealing with health conditions. And one of the things I learned is that my mind,
It's powerful.
and I'm sure in your practice, how what a large percentage of causation for what we're experiencing is coming from,
Yes. Yep.
right?
I love Joe Dispenza in one of his retreats. He said on stage, I find it phenomenal that we have people saying,
System is how when we catch the saboteur, and right away I catch, oh, there goes that stickler again. By celebrating that I caught it, there's another aspect of this sage power. By saying, way to go, Wayne, you caught him. There's like a little release of dopamine
mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
causes you to feel a little better.
Yep.
And that's also part of how we build.
Yes.
And so it's really, in terms of the coaching I do, I do one-on-one. What I really enjoy doing are small groups.
Okay.
What's wonderful with the small groups is that they each um, go through the program individually. One of the things I have not mentioned yet is that the coaching is supported by an app. So everyone who is doing the coaching with me has an app. The app provides a weekly video that's educational to help teach you about saboteurs and teach you about the sage powers. Each day there's a daily focus and mindfulness exercises for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
And with the groups, we meet once a week, and I get to hear them share about their experience with the subject of that and focus of that week. And there's nothing better than when one person talks about what it brought up for them, and then someone else is sitting there nodding their heads.
Yeah, I feel it. Yep.
And one person's experience then, brings awareness, more awareness to the others in the group.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something I love doing. I also conduct classes and workshops, um, my experience has been that even I know you did the assessment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you saw even just doing that, and we haven't even dug further into that. The word saboteur will have a different meaning for you now the rest of your
Mm-hmm.
life.
Yeah.
It's that kind of, it has that impact. So I love doing something and offering something that I know, even if it's one session, one workshop, I know that they're receiving something valuable.
Yes.
The, that's ultimately why I'm doing it. I am still an attorney. I don't practice anymore. I was in a car accident that resulted in head and spinal injuries. So I couldn't continue to practice. And that for perhaps another time, because I went through years of healing and recovery because I was completely broken
Mm-hmm.
in that accident, physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually.
Oh yeah, you lose your lifestyle and your health. That's a big hit.
And I had a really strong relationship spiritually, and I lost all faith at that point in time. I kind of felt betrayed. But in the process, this is another core theme of the mental fitness coaching, is that the sage teaches us that no matter the circumstance or the situation,
Mm-hmm.
you can find a gift and an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You may not see it right away. Trust me, when I got in that car accident, for years I was not seeing any
Mm-hmm.
gifts or opportunities. But now here I am with you on this podcast, and I'm using what I went through, which enables me to connect with people on an empathetic level that never could. That's something in particular I love.
Right.
But being able to take what was such a difficult situation and now, put it to really positive
Right.
things.
So who do you love working with? I mean, who is like the number one that you feel like you can make a positive impact on?
Well, for sure, other attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, all the demands and pressures and the issues that arise in that particular profession. But that also, a lot of that also applies to other business professionals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I would say that those are, two of the main categories: attorneys, business professionals. That being said, I will never, you know, um, turn away from an opportunity to help someone that's just seeking the help.
Right.
Um, this is a holistic, holistic health organization, and anyone that is being, seen here by any of the practitioners, if they think my system could be helpful, absolutely, because being able to assist people who are dealing with health challenges, that's something that's really near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
It took me a long time to really understand how what I'm thinking, how that's and the emotions it's producing,
Mm-hmm.
how much damage
Yep.
it causes us physically.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in an era where it was, they were always they never paid attention. Doctors didn't pay attention to the mind, um, and thankfully, uh, the holistic community has been educating us and educating, I think, the entire healthcare community about how critical our thinking is to how we feel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that those are I I try to I can't help everyone, and I know I can't meet all the different potential pathways to helping people, but um,
But when we work as a team, that's working holistically.
Right. And the beautiful thing with living holistic is that you have practitioners that have all these different, skills and expertise,
Mm-hmm.
and it offers support for my clients because
Mm-hmm.
I'm very clear on what I'm qualified to do and what I'm not.
Yeah.
Um, and I will mention, because I am asked this a lot, um, is, well, what's the difference between what you're doing and, say, working with a therapist? And this is not, when I talk about root causes, this is not family of origin, um, in-depth
Right.
therapy work.
Right.
Um, and it's more, he created a practical framework and was able to place labels.
Mm-hmm.
And by labeling, it kind of gives it a little more substance.
Right.
Right. Um, but
Training in the moment, daily life.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as deeper work, I'm very quick to suggest other expertise.
Right. Yeah.
Therapy.
So how would one connect?
Well, they can reach me. I have a website, wblifecoach.com.
Okay.
Is my website. My email is wayne.basist, BASIST, at wblifecoach.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Not
And you can find Wayne
here.
on our members online at livingholistic.org. But when they find you, what's the process?
So the process begins. The first thing that I will do is I have the client. I will send the prospective client a link to take a Saboteur assessment test,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I know you did before
Mm-hmm.
we started today. And that test takes all of about 3 minutes to do, and the results will show you how powerful each of those 10 saboteurs are in your life. And mentioned, you and I share the same one.
Mm-hmm.
So they do the assessment, they forward the results to me. Then I provide a complimentary session, typically around 45 minutes or so, where we do a deeper dive into those results. I let them experience some of the mindfulness exercises and experience how it feels to take an agitated mind and be able to quiet it in a matter of moments. And I'll share about some of the effective powers and the program. And if the person wants to move forward, I offer it's a 7-week program.
Okay.
And it's foundational. It's all about helping you learn how to use this system, educate you about the saboteurs, practice
Mm-hmm.
with this whole process. And I am in some discussions with some corporate entities about the possibility of working with larger groups, because it also has enormous benefits in the workplace,
Mm-hmm.
improving collaboration
Mm-hmm.
and members and stuff.
Yes.
And then after the foundational program is when we then move into actually applying the system now to specific areas of their life.
Okay.
And that's kind of it.
Okay. Well, I think it's very intriguing. I went through my assessment afterwards and it gave me my 10 saboteurs, but then it gave like follow up of explaining moments you might feel the saboteur. And it was very insightful. I connected with it well. So I highly encourage everybody to connect with Wayne, check out what he's offering, see if you connect with it. But you can catch us again here on the next podcast next Tuesday. It is just bringing the conversations that are happening here amongst our members on the couch to you guys every week. But when you join as a member or stop in for some coffee, you can get involved in these conversations. We're in the Woodlands, Texas, and we hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.